Here we are, take two. We are going to create something called Battle of the Blocks. I have opened up Animate. I have set it for web. The dimensions on this are 960 width by 640 height. The frame rate is 24, and we're using the HTML5 canvas platform type, and we hit create. I have saved this. You can see right there I've named it Mrs. C Battle of the Blocks. When you want to save, you just go up to File, go to Save, and then you save it. Make sure you save it in the right folder. It's best if you save it in a folder designated for your Animate projects. I have a special folder called Challenge 2 because this is our second Animate challenge. All right, so we're going to get started. In our last challenge, we created a really cool line, and the line changed colors and just did some really interesting things. And it was a frame-by-frame animation. This one is going to be a little bit different. I've named my first layer Block 1, okay? So for this, again, I'm going to go to the 24 mark, which is right here, and I am going to end my frame there. So I can do it either by right-clicking, which is always the easiest way. All I have to do is right-click and insert frame. That is the easiest. I could go here. This would be the second easiest. You hold down and then you choose frame. You have to make sure you choose frame and not keyframe. So that would be very important because we are simply trying to create a long frame here. So I could click that if I wanted to. The third way I could do this would be to go to Insert, Timeline, and there we go. There's frame again. So all three of those things will do the same thing. And so you now see that I have a long frame here. And there's my playhead. I can scrub it along these 24 frames, and there's nothing there. All right, before I get started, I am going to break this frame into segments, okay? So there's 24 frames here. We know that if we right-click, we have the ability to convert to frame-by-frame animation. Now, when we did our line, we did every single frame, okay? This time, we don't want to do every single frame. We want to do every fourth frame. So if you scroll down, you'll see keyframe every fourth frame, and now when you look, you see that it's segmented, and that's going to be very helpful. And we're going to use something called tweening that is going to help smooth out the transitions between each of these segments. So we're going to let the program do a little bit of the work for us instead of us doing everything. So I'm going to start on key 1. I know with the last challenge that we did, we started with the last keyframe. This time we're starting with the very first. And the first thing that I would like to make happen is I would like to make a block appear. So I will go to my, my rectangle here, and let's double check here, make sure everything's working. Okay, make sure I have this selected. This needs to be blue. If it's not blue, then it's not selected. I have my rectangle, and something is telling me that I have an issue. That's why I see this pencil with the line going through it. So let's try to figure out what our issue is. Okay, it's locked. I don't think I hit, okay. I don't think I hit it. No. Okay, maybe I did lock it. I didn't realize I locked it, but I must have locked that layer. Okay, so that was by accident. This should be all blue, and I didn't Notice that I had a lock there. Okay, let's get started. Gonna make a block, and right now the block is black. I will change that. I don't want a black block. I want something that's gonna be bright and pretty, and got to click on it first. Bright, pretty, and something that will show up on a black background. All right, so take a look at your block. If you need to change the size, this is your free transform tool. You can certainly change that to whatever you need it to be. I'm going to make this block look like it is a little bit out of the picture. It's not on the complete stage. And don't forget, anytime you want to see exactly what is on your stage, you can clip content by just doing this, and this shows you exactly what's on your stage. But in the meantime, I'm just going to start there. That was simple enough. I now want to make a copy of this, so I will right click. I will copy my frame. I'll go to my next keyframe where there is currently nothing. I'll right click again and I'll paste frames. So it pasted it exactly where the first one was. I'm going to turn this little thing on. It's called onion skin. I'm going to turn that on. Now you watch what happens when I slide this. When I slide this, you can actually see where the first box was. It's not actually there. If I hide the onion skin, you can see it's not actually there. And if I were to scrub through those two sections, you'd see that it actually moves. But the onion skin is good for helping you know where you want to place things. So maybe I think, okay, I kind of want it to touch a little bit. Remember that if you want something to appear fast, it's going to be far away. If you want something to appear slow, it's going to be very close. So you kind of make that decision on how close this is going to be. Once you decide, right click, oops, try that again, copy, go to your next keyframe, right click, paste, and it pasted there. I think I pasted the box instead of the frame, but in any case it won't matter. This is the onion skin I'm looking at. You can tell because it's a different color. So now my box is here. If I scrub these three, you can see the box is moving. I'm going to take it one more step. So again, I'm going to right click, make sure I have to remember I'm on a MacBook right now, and sometimes when I'm on the MacBook, things work a little differently than they do when I'm on the iMac. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Since I don't feel like fooling around with the right click on this, because the right click on this isn't quite as easy as it is on our iMacs, I'm going to go to Edit. Oops, make sure I have it selected. I'm going to go to Edit. I'm going to go to Copy. I'm going to go to my next keyframe. I'm going to go to Edit, and I'm going to go to Paste in Place. Now it is in exactly the same place. When I move it, it will now be right there. Okay? So if I continue to use Edit, Copy, and Paste, it's simply because I find that easier when I'm using the MacBook. When I'm using the Mac in class, it's a different situation. All right, so now we have this box, which is moving 4 times, okay? Now it's time to bring in a second box. So I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to name this Block 2. Block space 2. This block which will start here. Make sure you start it on the keyframe. It's very important that it starts right on the keyframe. I will start it there, and I'll put this one here somewhere. Oh, forgot to do an important thing. Command Z undoes everything. Important that I add my segmented frames. So to do that, again, if I right click, whoops, right click again, convert to frame, and keyframe every 4th frame. And you see it matches right up with the original. Now I can go here and I can draw that box again. Grab my rectangle. This box doesn't have to be the same size. It can be a little different. Right now I have I'm not showing the whole thing. I'm going to free transform this and make it just a little smaller. Maybe a little bigger, because I want it to look like this one's bigger than the other one. And I definitely want to change the color so that these 2 blocks kind of stand out. So I'll do that. If I wanted to spend a lot of time on this, I would probably change colors and do a variety of things, because I like animations to have a lot of things happening. But I do want to try to make this this video go quickly for you. So you be creative. Please be creative. I love to see the creative things that you guys do. All right, so now I move to my next frame. I need to repeat this frame. So again, if I right click, if I copy, it's going to copy just the box, but that's okay. Right click again, paste. Oh, not what I wanted to do. All right. Let me go to edit, paste. Okay. So now this one's going to travel up and to the left. All right. Onion skin on, and you can see where things are coming from, and you can see that they will eventually be getting closer to each other. So I click on this keyframe. That's the thing you have to keep reminding yourself. If you don't click on the keyframe, it'll seem like nothing's happening. That's blue right now, and the reason it's blue is because that is the keyframe, that is the frame where something is happening that I need to copy somewhere else. So if I double or right click, we'll say copy frame, come here, paste frame, you'll see that now this piece has come up. And if I want to kind of see what's happening so far, you can see that the blocks are getting closer to each other. And this last block, I want them to touch. So I will go back to this one, make sure it's blue, right click, copy frame, go to the next frame, right click, paste frame, and this has to touch. So I want it to touch maybe right there. I may go back to some previous frames and do a little bit of shifting. As long as you do the shifting on the keyframe, you can change it. If you do it on any other frame, then you're going to add a new keyframe, and then it will change things maybe in a way that you don't want it to change. So you see the frames are now coming up toward each other, moving away, coming toward each other. All right, now it's time for things to really happen. So we'll start here. We're going to copy. So I right click, copy frame, go here. Again, I go to the keyframe, right click, paste frame. Okay, so it's still there, but what's happening now? It is crashing into the other one. So with that being said, now it's time to really have some fun. Take your eraser. I like to keep my eraser kind of thin, so I'm going to change the size of it to like maybe a 3 or Two's fine. Really, all I want to do is I want this piece to look like it's breaking. And I don't care how you break it. You know, it's breaking, so you can have fun with that. Don't worry about this. This is just an onion skin. So maybe this is how my piece breaks. But I'm not finished yet. I'm going to have to click on each of these pieces, and I just have to move them away from that original. The onion skin shows you where it was originally, and this one didn't cut all the way, so I'm going to have to go back in there and make sure that gets cut. Move this away, and oh, these two are still attached. Try that cut again. And I didn't make perfect cuts there, so I have some pieces here that I might just delete. And if you can't get close enough to them, see, I still think these must be touching. And of course, you can always just erase things that you don't want. So here, I will fix this. If I had used perhaps a larger eraser, I might not have had that issue, but zoom out again. I want my pieces to rotate a little bit, so I'm going to use my free transform tool. I'm going to start twisting things around. This is gonna, whoops. Doesn't matter which way you twist them, just so it looks like things are going crazy. Okay, so everything has now broken, and I will take this frame and I will right click, and I'm getting the wrong right click. All right. Oh, I know. Again, I forgot to click on. Try it again. That should be blue. There we go. If you try enough times, things eventually work. All right. So copy. And now I'm going to go here, and I'm going to paste. And here, I'm going to let things, oops, first one at a time. I'm going to let things spin further out of control, away, away, away. Can go kind of out of the picture if you want. Definitely rotate things. That's what I was looking for. Okay. So this will spin. This will, trying to spin things so they look different than the way they looked before. This might spin this way, and then this will spin this way. So ideally, if I hide my onion skin, you can see where this one is already sort of kind of going out of the picture plane. All right, now here we have to go back to our blue box. So I will click on this, I will right click, I will copy frame, I will now go here and right click and paste frame. So now there's that blue box. But the blue box needs to get broken too, because once they hit each other, they both broke. So let's grab the eraser and start breaking up your box in whatever manner you choose. And we're just assuming, and you don't have to worry about this one because we're on a different layer. So ideally, although we see it, we don't actually and I want to start twisting some of these. So we don't want it to look like it just moved away from the box, looking like the box. So that's why I try to rotate these so that it looks like there is some kind of, there's definitely some motion going on. All right, so everything is kind of spinning out. Now here you see these continue to move out. So here I'm going to right click, copy frames, go here, paste frames. And so these are going to have to get moved a bit too. So now this one might fly out here more, this one might fly out here, this one might go in this direction, this one might come here, maybe this one's coming here. They're sort of going into each other's paths. Need to do some more rotating, more rotating, more rotating, and more rotating. Okay, so if we look at this now, we can see what's happening. Boom, boom, crash. Okay, but it would be nice if everything kind of left the scene. Like, it would be nice if when we got to the end of this animation, everything was gone. So let me just reduce the size of this a little bit more. And it's actually a little wide. Let me look at this. Okay, well, it is wide, but we're just going to make those pieces fly more. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to add a keyframe. Okay, and then I'm going to count 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here I need just a frame. Okay, just a frame. All right, and let me just make sure I counted right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. And I'll do the same thing here. I'll add first a keyframe, and then here I'll add just a frame. So that allows all those sections to kind of go out. Now what's kind of cool about doing it the way I just did it is it automatically copied what was here. So this now looks exactly like this. So what I can do now is, if I'm working with the pink first, I can continue to let my pink pieces travel wherever I want them to travel to. This one might just leave the scene. This one might come over here. I definitely want to do some rotating. Do Do some more rotating here. I kind of like the broken side of this, so I'm going to let it rotate that way. This side here, this here. And now I'll go to my blue section and do the same there. This will fly out here more. This will fly out here more. This will, whoops. Make sure you have it before you start moving it. This one might kind of come here more. I think I need to move this one. All right. Need to do a little bit of rotating. Again, I want things to look like they're spinning out of control. Spin. I can't remember if I spun this one or not. But just take your playhead. It's kind of fun to just watch what happens when you do your playhead. All right, I'm going to add one last set to this. So again, it's going to be keyframe. Count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Add your frame. Do the same thing here. Keyframe. You got to hold it down so that you can select the right thing, because it's gonna naturally want to go to the last thing that you used. So frame here. All right. So if I start here, that's my purple. That one's already out of the picture. This one can be sort of out of the picture. This one can be gone. This one can be maybe here. This one can be here. Just a little bit left. Maybe rotate that slightly. Maybe rotate this one slightly. And this one, of course, needs to be slightly out of the picture too. So if I don't want to see the things that are out of the picture, if I just want to see what's happening, boom. Now the purple's mostly gone, but the blue's still there. So now I'll go to my blue box and make these sort of leave the scene. And this one might still be like left, since it's kind of all by itself. This one maybe we'll go over here, do some last minute twisting. Not sure where that came from. I'm going to delete that. This one's twisting a little bit. All right, so what is happening? Boom, crash, everything's gone. The last thing I'm going to do is add one last layer to this. So there's my last layer. I'll bring it to the bottom. I will call it background. And notice how it created one long frame there. That's good. That's what I want. I'm going to start with the first keyframe, and I'm going to draw a box. And my box needs to cover the entire stage. So make sure it covers the whole stage. Hit your selection tool, and let's change the color. Black is always a safe bet because you can see things on black. So now if I do this, boom, crash, everything flies. I want to extend my black just one frame. So if I double click on it and I pull this one frame, now it's just a totally black. And now everything's gone. And if you want to see how it plays, click the loop. Make sure that the loop extends all the way to the end. Hit your play button, and you can see over and over again how your boxes crash and fly out of the scene. All right, one last thing. There's always one last thing. All right, so here's the last thing we're going to do. And it's actually kind of cool. So I'm going to extend my timeline a bit so I can see all 3 layers. I am going to click here. I'm going to hold my shift key, and then I'm going to click here. So basically, whoops, try that again. I'm going to click here, hold my shift key, and click here, okay, which is the end of the black. Now what I'm going to do is, make that big, I'm going to insert a tween, okay? So let's start with a classic tween. Now, it's telling me that the selected frame cannot be tweened. You need to convert to a symbol in order to tween. So I'm going to say OK. All right, so I've said OK. Now if you look at all my frames now, you can see there's little arrows, and that's telling me that there's going to be these in-between things happening from this point. So I'm going to turn loop back on, and I'm going to play this, and now you're going to notice a slight difference in the way everything breaks up. Do you notice how there's just like, it just slows it down a bit? It's almost like there's just a little more of a gentle transition between the breaking. So that's what happens when you add a classic tween. Now I'm going to stop my animation here. I'm going to hit Command Z again. So I've gotten rid of the tween. You can see the arrows are gone, so there's no more tween. But I am going to insert a different tween. Now I'm going to insert the motion tween. Now this one's telling me it can't be applied. So something is a little bit off on this, because usually I can do a shape tween. So let's see if it lets me do the shape tween. Now this time I didn't take it here, I only took it here, and that could have been the problem, because there just wasn't enough there. I'm not positive, but let's just, well, let me try something. Let's just try this and see what happens. So now we have the shape tween on this, and if you notice, the shapes like form their own shapes. I don't know if you can see that, but it's like it creates something really unique when they come together. So it is working. I just couldn't highlight all of them. I only highlighted it to here. I like the classic tween better, so I'm just going to hit Command Z. I'm going to turn off the animation. I'm going to just go ahead, whoops, start with the very beginning, go to the very end. Honestly, I could probably just hit these, insert, let's see if the motion, nope, it still doesn't work for that. Okay, so I'm going to hit the classic tween and look at it one last time. So there, I'm done. All I have to do now is you can always save. Like if this is something you think you're going to use at some other time, hit save. I have this called Mrs. C Battle of the Blocks, so certainly save it. But in order to turn it in, you want to turn it in as a GIF. So go to this little button here, go to Publish, go to Animated GIF, and hit Publish. You'll see that it's in the process of exporting that as a GIF. It says that it exported successfully, so that's ready to upload to Google. Okay? All right. Hope you guys had fun with that, and I will see you soon. Bye.